Been over 10 years since Storm Keating fell head over heels for Ronan, and the two started a roller coaster romance before eventually getting married. For Storm, that meant navigating the tricky task of becoming stepmum to Ronan's 3 children, Jack, Marie and Ali. And she joins us now ahead of Mother's Day to talk about being a stepmum. Storm, thank you so much for talking to us this afternoon.
Oh, thank you for having me.
So what in terms of Mother's Day, obviously we're all looking ahead to it because it's happening this weekend. As a mum who's got, you know, 2 children as well as 3 stepchildren, what will the day look like for you?
Oh, gosh, I don't know. Rose got that planned. Hopefully it's a bit of a surprise. I just, you know, to be honest, just have breakfast in bed and see the kids and have cuddles would probably be my ideal of a perfect Mother's Day anyway. And
what was it like when you first became a stepmom? Was it an easy transition for you?
You know, the truth is, I don't think it's ever easy. I think there's quite a lot of complexities that no one's ever really prepared for, because you don't get a rule book, and it's not something that we grow up, you know, thinking that we're ever going to sort of fall into. And the children themselves made it amazing for me, and they were absolutely brilliant. So I feel blessed and grateful that I've had such a great road, but I wouldn't want to diminish the challenges for any other step parent out there, because everybody has a different story to tell.
You went fast, because you actually gave up your career and everything, didn't you, to really commit to being a stepmom and a partner. That must have been really difficult to begin with. Yeah,
I found the first few years particularly challenging. I sort of left Australia, my support group, family, and as you said, my career, which I adore and miss, to sort of set up this life in the UK with the man that I loved. And of course, there were these 3 little people who were part of that picture, and it was a real learning curve for me, because I sort of cracked on doing, you know, I was producing on The Voice UK and sort of doing crazy TV hours, thinking that it was all okay. But actually, we got sort of halfway through that when we realised that the reality is my priorities needed to change, because the kids weren't getting as much of me as they possibly needed at that time. And yeah, so it was tough. But I look back now and I think I've been through it all, but I couldn't be happier with where we are at now as a family.
You mentioned there, Storm, about leaving Australia. I mean, that is, you know, that's a huge thing when you're having children of your own, to move 12,000 miles away from your own support network. Did you find it also quite weird, you know, coming over to another country that has a completely different way of life, not to mention the weather?
I found it, I think probably the weirdest thing was I went from being an independent career woman with my own life in Australia to being all of a sudden Ronan Keating's girlfriend. That was probably the biggest challenge for me, and I had to really process that a lot, trying to sort of, you know, wrestle with that. And at the same time then, you know, leaving my career, which obviously my identity was based on, and my ego, self-esteem, all those things that women, you know, we sort of build ourselves up with. So I think possibly many women can relate to this, because it's not just about moving countries. It was, for me, it was, I think, you know, changing my whole life to support a family. And for many women, we have to do that at some point if you do choose to have a family and children. And it's very similar. All of a sudden, you're trying to wrestle with it all and re-identify yourself and, you know, kind of find a new place for yourself, you know what I mean, but still is fulfilling for you as well.
What would you say to someone that's like just been thrown in to being I'm a step parent as well, and I know it can be how complex it can be. What would you say to somebody that's just reeling at the beginning of it all?
Love the children, prioritize the children, put them first, really internalize, and any insecurities that you may have, you just have to set them aside, because it's not the children's responsibility, it's yours as adults to do the best by them.
Yeah, and I can see Stacey nodding away and agreeing with you there. So thank you so much for being so honest with us about that, Storm. But in terms of you, Stacey, I mean, was there anything, because you're a step parent as well, so there's a lot of what Storm's saying that you can relate to.
100%. Huge roller coaster of emotions and really difficult. I know, Storm, that you grew up with separated parents, and I also grew up with blended families, and I just wondered if that made your decisions and your approach to step parenting a little different.
100%, Stace. Like, my parents are an example of two people really getting it right, and all four of us kids are so grateful to them, because it's a huge sacrifice to make as a parent to sort of identify that and sort of get over your own emotions, frustrations, hurts for the benefit of your family. And that's how I went into this with my three kids. Three stepchildren. See, I already catch my three kids.
Oh, bless you. I mean, so Storm, you seem to be doing so well, both as a mum, as a stepmum, and we wish you the best of luck for Mother's Day.